Hi, hello everyone, my name is Anna, also known as Traveling Knits, over on Instagram and here on YouTube. And today, as you can see from the pile of knits that I am holding, I am recording an Everything I Knit in 2025 video. I've always wanted to make one of these videos, and this year is finally the year in which I do. So I'm gonna go put these down and then I'm gonna try them on one by one and I'll talk about them. I love watching these kinds of videos, even though at times I find them a bit boring, if you can say so, because I do like to follow a creator like in every single video they post. So when the roundup at the end of the year comes out, or at the beginning of the next, I pretty much already know everything they've knit. But since I only started this YouTube channel in November, I think, most of the knits are new to this channel, so I will talk a bit more in depth about those knits and then maybe a bit less in depth about the knits that I already talked about in my knitting podcasts. And if you'd like to know more about them, you can definitely go back and see the podcast episodes in which I talk about them at length. I have my notes right here on my knitting notebook, so I will reference them as I go so that I don't forget stuff. I will go in chronological order, and I will show you only the ones that I have with me so I can try them on and show you what they look like. I did make some gift knits this year, mostly just my polo number 1, which I gifted to my boyfriend already for Christmas, and I talked about it a lot in the last episode, so it's only fair that I don't talk about it anymore. But if you're interested in that, please go watch the video. But anyways, the first knit I finished in 2025 is my Iwona Hat by Vert and Rose. I'm gonna show it up close. I hope it focuses, because this is a very intricate cabled pattern. It's a beautiful hat in this beautiful deep brown. I used the yarn from Rosa Pomar, Beiroa, I think it's called, which is 100% wool. I think it's unspun, if I'm not mistaken, but it's pretty rough. It's not super soft in any way. It does have some speckles of like white yarn throughout it, and I'm gonna show you what it's like on. So I forgot to mention, this was a test knit. I did quite a bunch of test knitting this year. I will reflect on that maybe at the end of the video, but anyways, this was a test knit, and so the cable pattern is knit exactly to pattern. I made no modification to that. I used, I think, 4mm needles for the body and then 3.5 for the brim of the hat that is in 2x2 rib. As in pattern again. The only thing I modified is the length of the brim. I knitted a bit shorter because in the sample pictures there's a lot of room going on here at the top, and I didn't want it to be that slouchy, so I wanted it very fitted to my head, and that is why I knit the brim shorter. I didn't know how to modify like the cable pattern or anything, so I didn't attempt that. I just knit the brim shorter and it worked out pretty well, I think. If you're interested to know more about any of these patterns, I will link all my Ravelry project pages down below, and you can go read through them. I keep a pretty updated and in-depth Ravelry, so all my notes will be on there as well. This was my first ever cable project. I wanted to start with something small, like a hat, not a big sweater, as it was a bit daunting for me. And then I saw the test knit, so I immediately applied. To make the cables, I bought this Flexi multi-tool, which I must admit I was very drawn to it by like the fun colors. Yeah, it's just, they were all like in different color shades, and I thought it was like a fun tool to have, but I didn't end up using it because I found it a bit impractical. It should be used to make cables like a cable needle, but the fact that it's flexible, I think it's not the most practical. Also, it says that you could use it for picking up stitches, which once again, I think a crochet hook works way better for that. So yeah, I didn't end up using it. It wasn't like a crazy expensive, it was probably like €7. But yeah, going back, I wouldn't buy this again. I didn't use it for this project and I don't think I will ever use it, but fun colors. So if you're into that, definitely get a Flexi multi-tool and let me know if you actually use it for stuff, because it's supposed to have like various uses, as the name says. The second project I finished were my twinning mitts. Now, these are called twinning because I made one pair for myself and one pair for my boyfriend, and they're supposed to go in pairs because I knit mine using the grey as the main color and the blue as the contrast color, and then I knit his reversed, so with the blue as the main color and the grey as the contrast color. And I think they're very nice to have something similar but not identical. You could do them for yourself and like your best friend, yourself and your boyfriend, whoever, and just have two matching mitts that are not exactly the same. I thought the idea was kind of cute. I made them for Valentine's Day and my boyfriend actually ended up using them a lot. Probably more than me because I made them with like colors that I knew he would like and they're not necessarily my favorite. I'm gonna try them on and show you. But this is my own pattern. You can find it on Ravelry if you're interested in knitting them. This is what they look like. I will put the other one on as well so you can see them. I have my watch on this one, so old mittens and stuff create like a weird bunching up, but here they are. I find them very, very cute. They're kind of practical. Since they're knit in two colors, they're like double layered, so they do keep your hands warm, even though they don't have the fingers. And I knit them so that they would fit a bit higher up on the fingers, so most of the hand is still covered. They are knit using 3mm needles for the body, like the colorwork section, which is most of the mitten, and then 2.5mm needles for the Latvian braids, because they have Latvian braids both at the top and at the bottom, and they don't have it here because it would be a bit not necessarily like the best knitting experience, but yeah, they do have two sets of Latvian braids. And I made them so that they would be like in the opposite direction. So this one goes one way and this one goes the other way. You can find the pattern on Ravelry if you'd like to knit yours. This is my pink v-neck camisole, and I didn't use a pattern for this. For the yarn I used Isager Marilyn, which is a nice 80% wool, 20% linen blend, which is what I typically use instead of Knitting for Olive Merino. I cannot find Knitting for Olive Merino in Milan in any of my local yarn stores, so yeah, this one, my local yarn store has it, so I go for this one most of the times. Yardage is pretty much the same, and it has some linen, which is good, but I must say it's not itchy, but it is more itchy than Knitting for Olive Merino, but it's definitely a great option if you cannot find Knitting for Olive Merino where you live as well. I knit this on 3mm needles for the body that is in stockinette, and then 2.5 for the large rib band, which is in 2x2 ribbing. I find that I really like 2x2 ribbing, way more than 1x1, so I made all the edges in 2x2 rib, the one in the neck and the one on the armhole as well. So for this one, I freehanded it, there's no pattern, but I did write down all of my notes when I knitted, because the plan was to eventually make a pattern out of it. But the problem is, I knit this part of the bust with dart shaping. There's a lot of shaping going on, and I used German short rows. I'm gonna show it to you once it's off. You can really see it, but since I made that much shaping, I don't know if I could grade it and figure out how to do it for different sizes. It's not the easiest, especially for someone like me who has never really written a pattern for a garment. That's why I never wrote the pattern, but I would love to maybe someday. Let me know if you're interested. I think it looks very good. I enjoy wearing it a lot. It is a bit cropped. I like it cropped. I usually wear high-rise jeans, so it's not something that bothers me, but it's not full length, because for a full length I would have had to buy another skein and didn't want to do that. So yeah, I said I would show it to you, not on my body. So the 2 folds here is just because it's a summer knit and it was folded in my wardrobe ever since summer. So yeah, but you can see here that bust shaping was used, and that is why it's not like the easiest to braid and everything. For the neckline, I did a normal like V-neck style decrease down here, and I did the same for the armholes as well. I really like it and I really enjoy wearing it, and I love the color, which I don't know if it comes out well in camera. I will tell you the shade, which is number 70, and it's a very nice pink color. Then I have another test knit, which are my Bumpy Road socks by Atelier Castin. And these are knits with Lana Grossa Milan White Tweed in the shade number 171, which is this nice light blue with specks, of course, because it's tweed yarn. I used 3.5mm needles to knit the socks, so they are at a DK weight gauge. I held my yarn double. Its fingering weight held double. I was going to say this was probably my first time knitting toe-up socks, but actually I'm wearing the actual first toe-up socks, which were my Zakuri Remix socks by Yuka, which I love. And yeah, so it's my second time, but anyways, these are the Bumpy Road socks. They have this nice pattern of pearls and knits. The construction is very straightforward, but the way the increases were made here, it's something that I've never seen before. Again, I only knit 1 pair of toe-up socks, so probably that's why, but I found it very interesting and I would knit them again, honestly. These have been worn a lot. You can see, I think, that they started to kind of felt a bit, but I guess that's just a good thing. It means that I really love them and that I actually use them a lot. This is another test knit, and it's the Theresia Cardigan by Gregoria Fibers. I knit this with Isager Yarn Tweed in the color lime green, I think it's called. I used 4 skeins for the whole project, which I think it's quite good, but I did buy a bit more. So I do have, I think, 2 full skeins left over, and I'm desperately trying to find a project to make with them. So if you have any ideas, let me know. But back to the cardigan. I knit this on 3.5mm needles, so yeah, not the fastest. I love the fact that it's a fitted cardigan, so the shoulder starts from here. I was a bit tired of all these oversized drop shoulder cardigans, so I'm very glad I found this one. The shaping for the shoulders is very interesting, I think. I don't really know if it has a name, but it starts off in a way that then merges into a contiguous shoulder method. But yeah, I don't know if the whole thing has a name, but anyways, it does create a very fitted cardigan with like the shoulders starting right here, very tailored to the body, which I think is great. It has a nice cable button band over here. The thing is, my cables point in the opposite direction than the ones in the sample and in the pattern if you are to knit it now. That is because in the test knit it was wrong. I mean, it's not really a mistake or anything. It's not something that bothers me at all, but yeah, in the sample pictures they were in the other direction, and in the test knit then they were switched, but they were eventually switched back again. So the final pattern and the sample pictures are the same. This one is different. The construction for the buttonholes is something I've never done before, but it creates these nice buttons that are like open in the middle, which I find very elegant. So I'm very happy with this cardigan. I don't wear it a ton just because the yarn is a bit itchy on its own. Like this with a long sleeve underneath, it's not bad, but with a short sleeve kind of is. And also about the yarn, when knitting with it, Since I think it's unspun, the width varies a lot throughout the skein, and there were times in which I had to just cut it and reattach new yarn because it was getting too thin, and I was pretty afraid that it would break. So yeah, not the best knitting experience with the yarn, but I do love the color. I mostly picked it up because of the color, and I think it's a mix of wool and mohair. I think it's the mohair that makes it a bit itchy. I really like the final project, just not so much the knitting experience. This is the lined loop top by Other Loops, and I've been wanting to knit this in forever. I had the pattern, but I never got to knitting it, and finally I did. This was the project I brought with me on vacation while I was in Turkey, so it has a lot of memories attached to it, which is something I really love. I usually like to carry a knitting project with me while I travel, so that then the project has some memories connected to it. I knitted using, once again, Isigur Marilyn. The light beige is the color OE, I think, and then the brown is color number 9S. And I used 2 skeins of the white and 1 skein of the brown. I do have some left over, but yeah, mostly. And since I had 3 skeins, not 2, as I usually have for my camisoles, that meant that I can knit the body a bit longer. I did love the design and the pattern. The only thing is that you get tired after a while of knitting this knit 2 purl 1 rib throughout the whole camisole. I think you can see it. It's knit 2 purl 1. And it's beautiful to look at it once it's done, but knitting it, a bit painful. But anyways, I did use the same edging of the neck for the armholes as well. In pattern, it says to do an I-cord here, but I wanted to give it a bit more fabric here to cover a bit more skin and bra. This is not bra friendly at all. And another thing that I modified compared to the pattern is that I added waist shaping, as I do for most of my camisoles. And all the notes about it can be found on my Ravelry page. I think I've written pretty in-depth instructions. Like, you have to have the pattern to understand them, but yeah, this way it just comes out a bit more fitted here at the waist. This is not in chronological order, but I didn't want to change back to my long sleeve t-shirt and then back again in this. But once again, this is just due to the folding in the wardrobe. It's not about the knit itself. But this is the Scrunchy top by Engineering Loops, and I test knit this. I used Sandnes Garn Line. 3 skeins are in the color 1015, that is this light one, and then 1 skein is in the color, I think, 3820, which is this like more gray one down here. And that is only because my local yarn store was running a sale. I wanted to get this light one, but they didn't have 4 skeins. So yeah, I had to buy another one in a different color. I chose this one that is pretty similar, and I did blend it in a way that you can find on my Ravelry project page. Basically, I was looking around on the internet and I found this Reddit thread that said that they followed a free pattern on Ravelry for like color merging, and I pretty much adapted it to my stitch count, and that is how I created this effect. I love this design. This is probably one of my favorite summer top patterns. I like the fact that it covers most of the shoulders, well, all of the shoulders, so you can wear it like in any occasion, but it's still quite far away from your armpit area down here, which is great. I added the optional waist shaping. It's in pattern, and I added it so it would be very fitted to my body, and so I find that it's very flattering without exposing too much skin. And there's the scrunch going on here, and that's why it's called Scrunchy top. Really love this one. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful design, and I cannot recommend it enough. Now I have 2 crochet projects. This one is the Dusk Bag by Loose Ends, and I was highly influenced by Amazing-ish Grace, and she crocheted this a while back. She had a discount code as well, so I used that to buy the pattern, and I found this gorgeous lime green yarn at the market, like local market. This is an Italian brand, I think, that is Cucirini 3 Stelle wiggly yarn, and I crochet this on 6mm needles, so it's off gauge. I think it's crocheted more like on 14mm needles. I don't know, maybe I'm making this up, but I'm pretty sure I made this off gauge. I didn't want it to be extra chunky. Loose ends bags are very big and heavy, and I wanted it a bit lighter. But anyways, I love the shape. This is something I wear a lot, mostly during the summer, not so much during winter, but yeah, this is what it looks like on. And it can actually fit a lot of stuff in here, so a phone goes in very easily and out as well. And I can also fit my wallet and keys, which is what I usually put in bags. So yeah, this is probably like the only crochet bag I would make, and I'm very glad I did because I use this a lot. And the other crochet project is when I actually knit, mostly in 2024. I knitted during the summer, and I knit the body and 1 sleeve and a half during summer 2024, but then I didn't finish it in time to wear it in summer, and so I picked it back up in 2025 and finally finished the sleeve and got it done to wear in summer of 2025. I'm not really showing it with the best fit. I usually wear this like over a black dress or something like that. I knit this using an Italian brand that is Borgo de Pazzi Amore Drago in the colorway number 7, which is a nice like sparkly yarn, which I think fits very well like the summer vibe. The crochet hook I used is 4mm needles, and I think I didn't mention what pattern it is. This is the Flora Shirt by Rose Vane, and I do like the finished piece. I just didn't love the crochet experience. I don't love to crochet, and that is why the sleeves are way shorter than they should be. I could have added another flower repeat, but I was really done with it. I just wanted to wear it. And also, usually, as I said, I wear it with like sleeveless dress, so you don't really see like the whole sleeve popping out at the end of the shirt's sleeve. I was just over this project. I just wanted it done and I wanted to wear it. But I'm still glad I made this because I think the design and the flower pattern is very, very nice. The last project before I talk about the knits that have been showed on the knitting podcasts is this green scarf that has a nice cable pattern. They're actually like fake cables. I didn't follow a pattern for this, I just went with it, and it's quite long, so it does have like kind of the shape of a Sophie scarf with these edges at the end, but it's quite long. It's not a mini scarf or anything. This is what it looks like on. I do enjoy wearing it quite a bit, especially during spring or the fall. This has not really seen spring yet, but it will soon. I used it a lot during fall. And this is knit using a yarn that I bought while I was on vacation in Slovenia. And this is Lang Yarn's Baby Alpaca in the color Sub Green. I bought 1 skein. I just wanted to make a quick project. It's super soft, super soft. It's quite expensive, and that's why I bought only 1 skein, but I'm still glad I did because this is something that I wear. I think you can really see a pattern with the lime green. It is probably my favorite color, so yeah, I do have quite some projects with it. I knit this on 3.5mm needles, and yeah, this is pretty much all I have to say about it. I did think about writing a pattern, but I think there are just like too many similar patterns for scarf out there. So yeah, that's why I didn't make it, but I really like how it turned out. Now I have 2 of my own designs. These are the split tabby mitts, and these are the split line gloves. Now I knit both of them using the same yarn, which is from a local yarn store here in Milan that's called Lanar, and the yarn is Alpaca Baby, which is 100% baby alpaca, as the name says. And for these ones I used the color Malva, and for these ones the color Glacé. I also made a pair of these split line gloves for my boyfriend using color Denim, held double. These ones, as you can see, have the classic Tabi split, and I will try them on to show you. Here they are. I really love the color pink, and also the split here in the middle. It is kind of weird to look at, but it was trending a lot and I wanted to make something that had the split, and honestly it's quite handy. Like, of course 5-finger gloves are more handy, but these are way more handy than the ones that have just all the fingers in one place. You can still grab things and stuff like that. I actually had the wrong one on. This is the right mitten, and I know that because I made a thumb slit. I think it's focused now, but yeah, I did a thumb slit and you can slip it open, and there you have it. The thumb is free to use, and I especially like this to take pictures when it's cold outside, so I only have to use my thumb and I don't have to take the whole mitten off, which is great. Also write messages and stuff like that. There's the option to make it both on the right thumb and on the left thumb, but I usually type with 2 thumbs, but I can easily do it with 1, so I only made the slit on the right hand. And then these are the split line gloves, and once again on the right mitten I made the slit. I was a bit scared as well at first to make a pair of 5-finger gloves. It's not something you really see out there, but let me tell you, these have been life-changing. I do have gloves that have all fingers in one place, and I love them because they're color work, they're nice to look at, but as far as practicality goes, I don't love them. These ones are 5-finger gloves. There's the slit over here, so you can pop your thumb open, and yeah, they're just 5-finger gloves. They're like store-bought ones, but you made them. I highly recommend you try them, even if not this pattern, maybe another pattern that has 5 fingers. There are a bunch of ends to weave in at the end, but it's not that much really. It's just scary to think about, but once you're there weaving in the ends, it's not bad at all. And in the end you have something that you will wear for a lot of years to come, hopefully. And so yeah, highly recommend making 5-finger gloves. Don't be scared. I've talked about this at length in my podcast, so I will try to be as fast as possible. This is the Caladium Vest by MS Knits, and it's a test knit. The pattern is not out yet. When it's out, I will link it down below, but I knit it with Knitting for Olive, heavy merino and soft silk mohair held together. For the main color I used the heavy merino in the colorway Powder and the mohair in the colorway Soft Rose, and then for the contrast color I used the shade Bordeaux, both for the heavy merino and the soft silk mohair, and the yarn was gifted for the test knit, so very grateful for that. I knitted on 5mm needles for the body, and then on 4mm for the edges, like the rib here and on the sleeve as well. Now the designer is having a second run of the test knit, but I am not taking part in that. It's knit with another yarn, which again I'm not sure because I haven't really been following it, but yeah, I think the main thing that will change is that the shoulder will be a bit wider. But apart from that, I'm not super sure. I will tell you maybe when the pattern is out at the end what are the changes, because since I'm not taking part in the second test knit, I'm not very active in it. So yeah, I don't know all the different things that will be changed, but not that much. Like the design is still this one, and I think it's a very good beginner-friendly colorwork project. You start knitting flat, so there's colorwork flat, and then you join in the round, so there's colorwork in the round, and you only have 2 colors, and I don't think you ever have to catch floats. I'm very looking forward to wearing this maybe more during the spring, since it's a vest. At the moment it's very cold in Milan. This is another test knit, and it's the Syrup Dress by Olin Knitwear. Again, the yarn for this test knit is still Knitting for Olive, and it was sponsored, and this one uses Knitting for Olive Merino and Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair held together, both in the colorway Brown Bear, I think it's called. I knit this on 4mm needles for the body. Gauge is correct, but in the pattern it says to use 4.5mm needles, but I meant gauge on 4mm needles, and then I used 3.5 for the ribbing. I knit the mini length, and I did do one big modification, that is this dress doesn't have sleeves. In the pattern it does. I wanted something a bit lighter that I could wear with a long sleeve shirt underneath. Once again, I wouldn't probably wear this dark blue one, maybe like a brown one or a white one. The second modification I made is I added waist decreases and increases. So I decreased and then increased back again. All the notes can be found on my Ravelry page, and yeah, is it necessary? Maybe not. It is ribbed, so it has this beautiful pattern of ribbing and braids, so it does cinch in whether you do the decreases or not. But I do enjoy most of my garments with waist decreases, so I'm still glad I made that. The last 2 projects of the year are my hot water bottle. This is called Winter Warmer, and it's a pattern by Laura Penrose. Now, this was knit using a yarn that's called Lana Pecoratingola Fiemmese, and I bought it here in northern Italy near Trento. It's hand spun and hand dyed. The needles I used are 2.5mm needles for the color work and 2mm needles for the rib. So yeah, it wasn't a fast knit, but I do like the effect it created in the end. I think the pattern is great, it's super well written, and the test knitting experience, because yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it, but it was a test knit, and the test knitting experience was just amazing. Laura created such a good environment, and everyone in the Instagram group chat was very, very friendly. So yeah, I really loved the experience, and I do love my finished object. And now the last project are my sailor slippers. I made 5 pairs of them. I will have a project vlog out. I don't know if before this video or after this video, but yeah, I'm making a project vlog for them. I just have to film like the ending, because all the slippers are done and I knit them for Christmas as Christmas gifts. So these are mine, and that is why I still have them. Then I made them for my sister and 3 of our friends, so I don't have those anymore. But yeah, I love this pattern. I absolutely loved it. I used the recommended yarn, which is Drop Snow, the recommended needles, which are 8mm needles, and yeah, I knit everything to pattern pretty much. The only kind of issue I have with the slippers is that they're not stretchy at all, as you can see here. So I'm kind of afraid that with use, they will like stretch to a point that there's no coming back to the original size. But I guess you could always pop them back in the washing machine and have them felt a bit more. About the yarn, it does shed a lot while knitting, which is something I didn't love. I was like covered in it. But apart from that, yeah, the knitting experience was great. The pattern is super well written. And also a bit of exciting news, I will be translating the Sailor Slippers pattern from English to Italian. So mostly what I learned making this video is that this year I made a lot of test knit. I think I made 8 in total. One was not showed here. It was a tea cozy. It was the Christina tea cozy by Knit Lit, and it was a gift, so I don't have it with me anymore. But yeah, I think it's a total of 8 test knits. which is a lot, but I don't think I stressed myself out making them. Most of them have very flexible deadlines. The Caladium Vest isn't out yet, so that's like a 5 months deadline. Then the syrup dress didn't really have to be finished for a set date. She only needed feedback. So yeah, some were like the tea cozy, which is a small project, socks, which again, small. So yeah, I generally really like test knitting. I like the experience. I like that it connects you to so many people. So I don't think it's something I'm going to be cutting back on in 2026. I definitely want to be more mindful, maybe just do things that I really enjoy and that I will enjoy wearing once I knit them. Another thing is using good yarn, not itchy yarn. I really want to stay away from itchy yarn this year. I think that's pretty much it. I do want to knit more cardigans because I don't have a lot. This year was mostly accessories. I did like that dopamine boost that knitting accessories gives you, because you finish them so much faster than a sweater, obviously. So yeah, most of the knits I made this year were just small projects that I could finish in a small amount of time. But I think for next year I would love to have less finished objects, but bigger finished objects like sweaters, cardigans, and stuff like that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked the project. I hope you found some inspiration, and let me know in the comments, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!